What a crazy week already. It's only Tuesday for Star Wars news. A possible What If series, and now the Rey movie might be delayed indefinitely. Wow, we got a lot to talk about today. Conflicting reports on the Rey movie and the status of the Rey movie. We'll talk about all of it. And of course, this Star Wars What If series. That's something interesting. It's very interesting that I want to know if you guys want or don't want, and I got quite the take on that. So we'll talk about it all today. What's up, guys? It's Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars. How we doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon / evening, depending on where you are in the world, I guess. How's everybody doing today? What a crazy news day for Star Wars, that's for sure. We got some absolutely wild news in regards to the Rey movie, which we will get to. But first, I want to talk about the Star Wars What If series, because that Rey news is a lot to get into. There's conflicting reports already, and we really got to talk about a lot of it. But, hang on. I just got completely distracted. Jay, are you lying to me? Jay, don't you lie to me. He says, have you seen the Bad Batch teaser trailer? Is there a teaser trailer for the Bad Batch? Don't do this to me. Don't start off this stream on the wrong note, Jay. Let's not do this. I got to look it up. Is there a Bad Batch trailer? Is there a Bad Batch trailer? Don't do this to me. Bad Batch trailer. Season 3. Oh, you just got my hopes so high. And then when I clicked on it too, it said Star Wars, 3.5 million views, but it's 2 years ago. Why would you do that to me, Jay? Jay? Oh, that's so devastating. I was really hoping there was about to be a Bad Batch trailer right there. Damn, that would have been cool. Okay, getting back on topic here. Thanks a lot, Jay. Let's see. Let me open up the chat so I can really see what you guys are talking about. Dominic, don't worry about it. We know we all get busy. Clash Gold, what's up? Jason, how we doing? Fearless, how's it going? John, what's up? And John says, hell yes to a What If series. All right, we'll talk about the What If series. Actually, let's start up the poll in the chat. Today's first poll is going to be, do you want a What If series in Star Wars? Or for Star Wars. What? For Star Wars. For Star Wars. Yes or no? You tell me. Do you want a What If series? Yes or no? What's up, Tony? What's up, Tiffany? How we doing, everybody? I appreciate you all being here. We got a different time today, the 4 p.m. start. I think a lot of people can make it more when we start a little bit later, but we'll vary what we do a little bit here. Of course, yeah, we're only able to do what we can. Only able to do what we can. Let's see where this poll ends up, by the way. Right now, about 62% of you guys say yes. That means, quick maths, 48% of you do say no. Wait, no, 38%. That's some bad math. 38% say no. That's the link. I didn't get a link, Jay. Where'd you send the link? In the Discord? By the way, if you guys want a fun, cool, awesome Discord, there is one in the description below. And of course, becoming a member, the best way to support the channel is becoming a member. All right, let's dive into this What If news, okay? Let's dive into this What If news. Travis, what's up? How's it going? I'm doing good. How are you? All right, let's dive into this. These people were the first ones on top of this. Comicbookmovie.com. And they were kind of the ones who jumped on board. Daniel Rickman was the first to sort of report on this, kind of. Let's talk about it a little bit. Okay, so the What If Star Wars show. What's going on? So, Daniel RPK, I'll pull up his Twitter. Daniel RPK, or Daniel Rickman, this guy right here. He's a very, 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 very good, reliable insider when it comes to Star Wars and Marvel and other Hollywood trades. He is very good at his job. Well, he's right a lot of the time. He has been wrong, yes, but he has a good track record for being correct. Now, he did not publicly say that there will be a What If Star Wars animated show, but what he said on his private Patreon, which you have to pay to be on, Patreon, right here, he says, consider joining my Patreon. If you have joined that Patreon, which I am not, but he did leak out in his Patreon, again, not publicly, in his Patreon, that he has heard rumors from Lucasfilm that there is a What If series for Star Wars in the works. And that's it. Nobody has backed him up. He hasn't talked about it publicly at all. And there has been nothing else. However, that little piece of Star Wars nugget trivia or leakage that he put out on his Patreon has blown up Twitter and Instagram, or sorry, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram and YouTube, where people are going absolutely crazy, wondering if we're going to be getting a what if Star Wars show. So that's kind of what we're talking about today, at least for the first half of the show, because that Rey news has to be talked about, the Rey movie news. But first, to start off, we're talking about the what if series. Whether or not it's happening is still up in the air, as no other insider is talking about it. However, my question to you guys is whether or not you want this series. We've seen what ifs before. YouTubers all over the place do what if series. I've done a few. What if Qui-Gon didn't die and he trained Anakin instead of Obi-Wan? What if Ahsoka joined Maul on Mandalore and tried to take down Anakin and Palpatine? What if Luke joins Vader and Palpatine in Return of the Jedi and becomes evil? What if Luke wasn't an old hermit in The Last Jedi? Like, there's so many different what ifs when it comes to Star Wars, and tell me your favorite ones in the chat, that it would be a pretty damn cool show. Let's be honest, it would. However, Lucasfilm, I think, is in a place where they have no room, absolutely zero room, to create a Legends or extended universe or completely non-canon story of what ifs. When their canon stuff, their animated shows, live action shows, everything is not at the quality that they want it to be, especially the fans. The fandom is completely divided and gets more and more divided every day. Lucasfilm needs to focus on that first before they go anywhere near something like a what if show. And when you look at what they're comparing it to, which is the Marvel's version of what if, Marvel's what if is because of the multiverse. In the last thing, the very, 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 very last thing, I cannot emphasize this enough. Do not do this, Lucasfilm, if you are watching, and we know that you are. Leave the multiverse as far away from the galaxy, far, far away as possible. As soon as you hit multiverse level in the Star Wars galaxy, you lose everybody. The fandom becomes way worse. And it becomes just a disaster. A disaster. If those what if scenarios become real realities in some different multiverse or whatever, you've lost it. You've absolutely lost it. So the last thing we need as a Star Wars fandom in the galaxy far, far away is a multiverse. So, with that being said, do you guys want a what if series? And let's read this first article that we got today coming from comicbook.com. Okay, so let me pull that over there. Star Wars Lucasfilm rumored to be developing a what-if-inspired TV series set in the galaxy far, far away. Again, he's going to talk about the Daniel Rickman stuff here, so here we go. Over the past few years, we've seen Marvel Studios shift its focus from Thanos and the Infinity Stones to the multiverse. While fans have been slow to warm up to the concept, largely due to what's been perceived as a dip in quality, the likes of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and What If have proven it has potential. The multiverse has potential. Now, the multiverse has been done over and over and over again in Hollywood, in different IPs, in different medias, and rarely is it done correctly or done well. And Marvel is struggling a bit, but they're kind of getting their feet down. We'll see. Now, it appears Star Wars might be about to take a page from the latter's book. The latter being What If. According to scooper Daniel Rickman, again, we talked about this, Lucasfilm is developing its own What If style TV series show. We have no idea whether it will be animated or live action, though the former would be the easiest of both in terms of casting and exploring some wildly different timelines. Of course, I would assume 99.99999% sure that if it was to be made, it would be animated. A live action What If show would cost so much money, would be a massive waste of time, and animation's the way to go. Especially when you have the animation of the Clone Wars, which is so beloved, and I mean, you got like Tales of the Jedi and stuff. Well, yeah, let's stop. Pause. I would way rather canon stories in small increments like Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Sith, Tales of the Bounty Hunter, anything like that, rather than this What If show. We can't imagine We can't imagine it would be titled anything as on the nose as What If Star Wars, as the Marvel and Star Wars franchises are very much their own thing, despite both being owned by Disney. Still, this isn't the first time that Lucasfilm has weighed up the possibilities of exploring alternate timelines. Interesting. It very nearly happened in a scrapped Star Wars Battlefront video game, and heading into Ahsoka, rumors swirl that the World Between Worlds would explore a timeline where Ahsoka Tano confronted Anakin Skywalker on Mustafar in the place of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Perhaps that could be used here. So let's actually take a second to talk about that. We talked about this leading up to Ahsoka. We talked about that there would be a World Between Worlds sequence, and we thought we would see Ahsoka versus Anakin on Mustafar, Ahsoka in the place of Obi-Wan. We talked about this. We were really excited about this. However, that would not be an alternate timeline. That would be sort of in Ahsoka's head almost, like the whole World Between Worlds sequence was. It would sort of just be in her own head, and it wouldn't be something that actually happened. It would be more so a lesson for Ahsoka, like the whole World Between Worlds sequence was. I don't know, because it was so leaked heavily that the Mustafar scene happened. It obviously didn't happen in the show, but I don't know if it was ever on the table. That remains to be seen. But we did get Ahsoka versus Anakin regardless. It was just in the World Between Worlds and on Mandalore instead of on Mustafar. So, last year, What If director and executive producer Brian Andrews revealed that Marvel Studios turned down his request for a Star Wars crossover in the hit animated series. So he wanted to do a Star Wars crossover thing in Marvel's What If, and they said no. So he was probably going to have like an episode called What If the Avengers fought Star Wars characters or something like that. And they said no. They wanted to keep them very far away. So this is what he said, I believe. Actually, wait. Yeah, this is what he said. I think Kevin Feige really doesn't want to cross certain streams, but we did pitch, we actually had a Star Wars / Marvel crossover, so I think it's absolutely doable. I just don't know if Feige wants to cross those streams, but it's really funny. Once you get the realization of why you go, oh, right. It totally makes sense, because of course you can't cross over these two worlds. It won't rain on anyone's parade, but it was just a love letter to the old school Star Wars, and it was great. And I don't know if we will ever be able to do it, but we have thought about that stuff. So they've thought about doing a crossover between Marvel and Star Wars. I think it's a dumb idea. It's just a dumb idea. Don't bring Star Wars into any sort of real world thing like Marvel. It's just stupid. Also, let's be honest, Marvel's a little bit shaky. When Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, refers to Star Wars many of the times in the movies, in Civil War and in Spider-Man Homecoming when he's building a Death Star out of Legos, they know that Star Wars exists. Does he not realize that Nick Fury is Mace Windu? Did he miss that? Seems a little odd. Well, that's likely still off the table. Lucasfilm finally headed down this route with Star Wars. Lucasfilm finally heading down this route with Star Wars will put them back in the good graces of fans, and the mind boggles at the many possibilities that this show could explore. So this article is saying that this would be a good thing. It would put Lucasfilm in the good graces of the Star Wars fandom, and I actually disagree. I think you are taking away from the canon material that you can make. And although this would be pretty damn cool, a What If series like Marvel's creating, Marvel's What If series is not very successful. It's just not. And honestly, the animated shows for Star Wars, as much as the fandom behind Rebels and Clone Wars and Tales and Bad Batch is huge, the normie fans and non-animated fans don't watch it. So the views are not very high. They're not going to make a lot of money off of this. It'll just shake up the crowd a little bit. This obviously isn't an official look at a rumored series, but you might get excited about this. I'm sure you guys have seen this photo going around. It's pretty cool. I mean, it gets you excited. It could really sound pretty damn cool. but it's not likely. And I believe that's the end of the article. Yeah. All right, that's the end of that article. I do have 2 more to get into here. Actually, we'll dive right into this one next. So Screen Rant got on this yesterday, I believe. Published 1 day ago, yeah. So Star Wars has been telling what-if stories for 22 years. It's about time they came to TV too. So what are they talking about? This is, of course, Vader right there. Rumors are circulating that Star Wars is developing its own version of a what-if TV series. But it wouldn't be the first time that Star Wars has delved into the realm of infinite possibilities. Marvel's animated Disney Plus show, What If, follows the format of the What If comics, which explores what the Marvel Universe would look like if some of the Marvel's biggest superheroes or supervillains had made wildly different choices. So give me a 1 into the chat, by the way, if you guys have seen Marvel's What If series. Have you guys seen Marvel's What If series? I'm watching season 2 right now. It's pretty good. Some of the choices that they make for stories, though, are weird. They're a little out there, and they don't really make much sense to me. I feel like there's so many other great options for what ifs, and they don't use them. So, I don't know. It's a little strange. But it is a good show nonetheless. These stories have always been experimental but fun, pushing the boundaries of these heroes' characterizations and their limits in the Marvel Universe. Some audiences are worried that this same format couldn't work within Star Wars. However, if the MCU's What If TV show takes place in the vast multiverse, each story can contain its universes separate from the franchise's main timeline, but may, in the future, influence the MCU's sacred timeline, which is the one timeline that they use. The multiverse is not a part of the Star Wars narrative, and it must stay this way. It must stay this way. Do not bring in multiverse. However, and doesn't need to be, the galaxy is big enough to tell multitudes of stories without the need for a multiverse as a storytelling device. And Star Wars canon is already quite fragile. Why make it even more complicated? And yet, Star Wars has already asked itself, what if, before, and it could do so again in great success if it simply continues what it started in the early 2000s. So let's talk about this. Star Wars What If stories launched in 2001 with the Infinity comics. So these are some snippets from those. You got Vader in all white, you got Leia with the lightsaber, you got Han still blind after Return of the Jedi. I don't know what's going on there. You got evil Leia versus Luke with Palpatine and Vader behind them. Leia finding the purple lightsaber. Yeah, so you got all those cool things. In 2001, Dark Horse Comics launched the Star Wars Infinity series, which explored how the events of the original Star Wars original trilogy movies might have played out if key events had been altered. Each installment or episode picks up from where the original canon left off. The Infinity stories were all separate from one another, granting great creative license to explore the choices, story beats, and themes unique to each movie. Rather than building off of what happened in the previous alternate version, the tagline for the Star Wars Infinite comics was "The world of endless Star Wars possibilities." Sound familiar? You can actually read these still on the Marvel's Ultimate app, so you can still read these comics if you would like. Star Wars Infinity's A New Hope asked what would happen if Luke Skywalker had missed his once-in-a-lifetime shot to destroy the Death Star. Star Wars Infinity The Empire Strikes Back speculated what might happen if Han Solo hadn't managed to save Luke in time off the icy planet of Hoth. And Star Wars Infinity Return of the Jedi explores what could have happened if they'd never managed to save Han from Jabba the Hutt's clutches on Tatooine. These stories aren't part of some big multiversal plan, but rather just a simple one-off exploration of what could have happened instead. These Infinity stories are non-canon and, as such, do not affect Star Wars continuity. What the hell? Continuity is what I was looking for. Whoa, what? Go away. Perfect. Okay. So what do we think about this? One-off stories that don't mean anything to the Star Wars canon. That's, of course, what it would be. It's just only the Marvel Cinematic Universe calls it the multiverse. It would be thrilling to see Star Wars Infinities come for other eras, of course, because that was only the original trilogy. Given the Star Wars Infinities comics do not influence Star Wars canon, it would be undeniably interesting to see what could be done with other Star Wars eras, especially if Star Wars further develops the concept of the Infinities comics into the TV series. What if Qui-Gon Jinn hadn't died in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace? What if Anakin Skywalker had been able to save his mother on Tatooine in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones? Or the sequel trilogy too could be explored in the same manner. What if Finn hadn't found Rey on Jakku in The Force Awakens? What if Rey accepted Kylo's hand in The Last Jedi? The possibilities are truly endless. All right, let me check out the chat here. Hang on. I've seen you guys been typing a lot, and I'm very behind on the chat. So let's see what you guys are talking about. What do we think about this What If series? Do you want it? Do you not want it? What ifs would you want to see? If you do want it, is the multiverse thing concerning to you like it is to me? What do we think? Let me scroll back up here. Let's see. Gold Clash says, I wish that what if for Star Wars was true. Interesting. So what if would you want to see then? Jay says, there was one from 4 hours ago. He sent it to the Discord. Let's see. Videos. It's by Darth Trailer. That's not real. That's not real, Jay. Come on. We want a Star Wars trailer. John Groom says, what if would be a perfect way to have an ongoing animated series? It would be a good way to keep an animated series going. But I would way rather see a canon series that influences other canon around it, like a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show, for example. An animated show where Luke, Leia, and Han can exist in animation without having to deepfake them, without having to recast them, allowing Ben Solo to grow up, become Darth Vader, Kylo Ren, and have Palpatine show his pull on the galaxy at large. As cool as What If would be, it wouldn't affect canon. And that would. So I think it's more important to have an animated show like a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show rather than a What If series. Yeah. Travis says, I wouldn't mind a Star Wars What If named Infinities after the Dark Horse comics. There you go, Travis. You could frame it around Maz Kanata or the children of Canto Bight reenacting events with toys. That's not actually a bad idea. Jason says, there is something new from Bespin Bulletin regarding the Rey movie. Yes, Jason, we're going to get to all those articles in a little bit here after we get through this What If stuff first. But that Rey news is insane. It's insane. John Groom says, what if Plagueis killed Palpatine instead of vice versa? That's a good one. That's actually a really good one. Because we know that Palpatine kills Plagueis while he's in his sleep. And that allows Palpatine, of course, to take over the entire galaxy. What if Plagueis did the same? Because Plagueis wasn't trying to take over the entire galaxy. He just wanted to live forever. His whole purpose was to live forever. That's why. Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? That's the story he's telling. He wants to live forever. And Palpatine kills him in his sleep. Ironic. Chris says, do you think that Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker character will return? And do you think that Supreme Leader Snoke will be in live action or animation? I hope it's live action. I think both characters will return in live action, probably in the Mandoverse, probably in this trilogy that we've been talking about for about a week now. I hope so. I hope we see both of those characters, for sure. Brandon, what's up? Brandon says, Star Wars What If series can be a successful spin-off if they have interesting stories. That's true. If they're doing random what ifs, like what if Cassian Andor stepped on a bug, or what if Reva took over the galaxy, or what if Rey was even more powerful, then you don't want to see that. You would have to see the really good ones, like we talked about at the beginning of the show. What if Qui-Gon Jinn survived and trained as Anakin? Yeah, it would have to be the right stories, I guess. That's for sure. Anthony says, Mike, I vote yes, because Star Wars Infinities existed during the Lucas era. However, I am more interested in actual canon Star Wars stories. We have Star Wars Visions already. Yeah, and Star Wars Visions doesn't really interest me much at all. It's a cool concept, getting to have all these different animation studios create new Star Wars. Like, there's some good stories in there. I think episode 1 of season 1 is the best of them all, and it goes downhill from there. But again, it's like, I don't care about any of those characters. I would way rather have a canon that I can look forward to that's interconnected than stuff that isn't. And a what if series would give me, of course, recognizable faces like Qui-Gon and Anakin and Obi-Wan and others. But it's just, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Travis says, what if Watto was a deadbeat who owed a lot of money and snuck onto Padme's ship? The idea he's found by the droids, having to help them fly through the war zone to rescue Padme. Could have been great. What? He's a deadbeat who owns money and snuck onto Padme's ship. So like when they're on Tatooine, he's just snuck on? Interesting. Brandon says, what if Sidious was killed by Maul and Savage on Mandalore? Ooh, could be an interesting concept. That would be crazy. What if Maul and Savage killed Palpatine on Mandalore? It would definitely make Palpatine look a lot weaker because he just like tools with them the entire time. And it would make Maul a lot stronger. But it would change the entire galaxy forever because although Maul at the time, he was really just going out for revenge for Obi-Wan. And he didn't really want to take over the entire galaxy, so he wouldn't take over the entire galaxy, and Palpatine wouldn't be there to take over the entire galaxy, so that the Jedi and the Republic would just continue. Maybe the war would even end when they kill Grievous and Dooku. I don't know. That's a good one. That's definitely a good one. Travis says, Anakin looking like he just stepped out of $2 billion. Oh, yeah, this Anakin photo you're talking about? Yeah. That's not the greatest, for sure. John Groom says, as long as what if just stays just a bit of fun and doesn't affect any canon, I agree. It definitely can't affect canon. My concern is the multiverse aspect of this, because that's the whole thing that is driving this what if Marvel series, is the multiverse. And as soon as you bring in the multiverse to Star Wars, shit hits the fan and it becomes horrible. It would be a disaster, and it would just ruin everything. Ruin everything. It would not be good. By the way, we got 80% of you guys saying yes in this poll right now. 80%. Wow. And I disagree. Anthony says, what's messed up? What's messed up? The Ninth Jedi and 90% of the rest of Star Wars Visions represents better, more canon Star Wars storytelling than too much of what Lucasfilm has deemed canon. So you're saying a lot of what is in Visions is better than what Star Wars canon has given us? I disagree. I completely disagree. What's up, Andrew? How we doing? Chris says, I heard that Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures Season 2 is rumored. Yeah, no, Season 2, or maybe it's still Season 1, I don't even know. But Season 2 starts on February 14th or something like that. It does start very soon. Yeah. Yeah. Freak Zeke, what's up? Zeke says, I just saw the news about the Rey movie and came straight here on time for this live. Well, thanks, Zeke. I appreciate that. We're going to get into that Rey news in just a minute. That's some crazy, crazy stuff. Yeah, we'll get into it. Travis says, not a what if, but an animated Forces of Destiny shorts were actually quite good and really expand upon the films. I actually haven't watched the Forces of Destiny. I don't know why. I just haven't, but I'll take your word for it, I guess. Yeah. I loved Season 1 of Young Jedi Adventures. If Season 2 comes, it will be fascinating to see how they will portray the incident of the Nile, the Great Leveler, and the Nameless, and the Drengir for kids. Yeah, I haven't watched it. I have no interest in the Young Jedi Adventure show. I just can't deny it. I don't, and I won't. It's just too kiddie for me. And I understand that that's like a insane thing to say because Star Wars is technically made for kids, but this one, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. John Groom says, they also missed that Ahsoka is a nurse in Hell's Kitchen. Oh. Yeah, that's true. Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson plays the nurse in Daredevil on Netflix. Yes, she's a nurse in Hell's Kitchen, for sure. Anthony Jameson, what's up, Anthony, says, are you sad about Kevin Conroy still? Conroy still? Of course. Wait, what? Kevin Conroy? Yeah? Kevin passed away. When did he pass away? Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy passed away November 10th of 2022. I mean, of course, I'm still sad we don't get any more of the best animated Batman ever. Fearless says, I really hope that we get another animated show after The Bad Batch Season 3. I really like the animated stuff. Fearless, there is absolutely no way that they stop making animated Star Wars content. There's no way. The amount of fandom that is behind the Clone Wars or Rebels or even The Bad Batch now, they will never stop that. As long as there's story to be told, of course. I think the Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show is the perfect spot to go next, but we'll see what they have in planned. Or in store, I should say. Yeah. I've seen parts of What Ifs from Marvel. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not terrible, but it's all right. It's all right. Brandon says, yeah, it's been years since great Batman actor Kevin Conroy passed due to cancer. Hope News Suicide Squad game is an excellent tribute to him since it is the last project that he did. Oh, really? I did not know that the Suicide Squad was his last project. I did not know that. That's pretty crazy. Freak Zeke says, Star Wars had crossovers with Predator, but needs another with Alien, and I'd like one with Star Trek. Star Wars had a crossover with Predator? When was that? I don't know about that. When was that? Travis says, I've seen Marvel's What If Season 1, and it honestly tells some of the best MCU stories in that phase. Better than some of the movies and shows in Phase 4. Yeah. Phase 4 is a shaky one, and so is Phase 5 right now, but it does tell a lot of good stories. I'll give you that. It does. But Marvel's very different from Star Wars. Very different from Star Wars. And it needs to be treated that way as well. Tiffany says, yes, I've watched both seasons of Marvel's What If. Well, what did you think, Tiffany? Fearless says, Star Wars and Star Trek crossover would be cool. Nah. I don't know. I'm not a big Star Trek fan at all, so I would say, nah. Brandon says, I've watched Marvel's What If Season 1, and it was really good. I think it is good. But again, it's different. It's very different. Yeah. Do you have a TikTok account? I do. Chris says, because I have a TikTok account called Star Wars TikTok account. I do content on there. That's cool, Chris. I'll definitely go give you a follow if you follow me. Because I'll forget by the end of this stream. Yeah, it's a guy who loves Star Wars on there too. Travis says, whoever wrote the article didn't do their research. Return of the Jedi was called What If C-3PO didn't translate for Jabba the Hutt? Han is still rescued. Oh, really? I wouldn't know. But that's cool too. That's actually a very specific one. What if C-3PO didn't translate for Jabba the Hutt? Interesting. John Groom says, what if Luke didn't remove R2's restraining bolt on Tatooine? Well, then the story probably wouldn't have happened. A whole lot of nothing would go down in the Star Wars galaxy, that's for sure. Leia would probably die, and nothing would happen. Jay says, I don't want a What If series, but there is a rumored Lego set for August 1st with a black Millennium Falcon and a white Vader and Darth Jar Jar, which could possibly mean something. Is that real? Are you just making this up, Jay? You did tell me that there was a Bad Batch Season 3 trailer. But that does sound cool. Travis says, that's a good one. I think R2 would have been more aggressive and persistent about getting to Obi-Wan. Luke wouldn't have felt the drive to help Leia, not going with him. Well, R2 wouldn't have the drive to go get Obi-Wan because he has a restraining bolt on. No? What's up, Catherine? What's up, Andrew? Travis says, the consensus seems to be that a what-if series would be problematic on the screen medium, but it would work best in the comics. I definitely think it would work best in comics just because of the fact that it would not affect anything else. And it wouldn't really affect the canon all too much either. Yeah, I agree. Brandon says, what if Fives told the Jedi Council that all the clones had inhibitor chips before Order 66? That would be a great one, actually, because they didn't believe Fives, and then Fives ends up dying. So what if he went straight to the Jedi Council? That would be pretty interesting. Yeah. They'd probably catch on quick. They wouldn't really know who put the inhibitor chips in the heads, but they wouldn't trust the clones, that's for sure. That would be pretty cool. That would be cool. Andrew says, Fearless says, did y'all hear about Andor? Diego Luna says they start filming today, and he only has 7 more days of filming left until season 2 is wrapped. Yes, I have seen that. We'll talk about that a little bit. There's an article I got pulled up for that in just a little bit. Yeah, we'll probably end the stream with that news. Yeah. Sears Speed Reviews says, I would love more clones stories, be it animated or live action. More clone stories would be cool. I mean, you already get so many clone stories in the Clone Wars and in Bad Batch now and in Rebels as well a little bit. But yeah, I'm down for some more clone stories. There's always room for more. Yeah. Officer Murdoch, what's up, says Star Trek has to stay out of Star Wars. I agree with that. Yeah. I don't even know Star Trek at all, but yes. Travis says, I'm excited about that Andor news. It would be awesome if we got an episode without Andor. And it's just Bodhi Rook meeting Galen Erso, bonding, leading to his defection. Oh, the pilot, yeah, from Rogue One. That would be cool. Yeah. Alexandro says, hello. What's up, Alexandro? Tiffany says, I personally like both seasons of Marvel's What If, and I enjoy watching, but I agree with what you said earlier, and there are other great stories that they could have explored as well. Yeah, they're just oddly specific stories that really don't make much sense at all that they cover in What If. It's a little strange. All right, let's read this last article I got pulled up here from CBR about this What If series. Let's see what they have to say, and then we're going to go into the Ray news, because the Ray news is quite insane, and I know it's going to take a lot of time, so we got to go over all of it, because it's insane. Okay, so rumor, Star Wars might get a What If style series on Disney+. Recent rumors suggest that there may be a Star Wars version of What If in the early works at Disney+. A new, unique style Star Wars series is reportedly coming soon to Disney+. Again, this is not like coming soon at all. New rumors suggest that Star Wars could get its own What If series in the near future. According to Hollywood insider Daniel RPK, Lucasfilm and Disney are already actively developing a What If show for a Star Wars franchise. Again, he's not talking about this publicly. He's only talking about this on his Patreon. As of now, there is no other details on this potential new series, but if the rumors are true, it would likely be animated, just as the MCU's What If series is. This would also follow in the footsteps of the popular Star Wars animated show The Clone Wars, Rebels, Star Wars Visions, and more. The Marvel Cinematic Universe was the first major franchise to debut a show of this kind, as What If has had 2 seasons on Disney+, the latest of which premiered over the past holiday season. Stories told across the 2 seasons include alternate timelines in which T'Challa took the place of Peter Quill as Star-Lord, the Marvel heroes turning into zombies, Peggy Carter taking the super serum instead of Steve Rogers, and more. Just as Marvel Studios' What If became a interesting and unique part of the franchise slate over the last couple of years, Lucasfilm is rumored to be intent on replicating the success with an alternate universe animated series of their own. Again, this is all just based off of this one guy who said something in his private Patreon. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy how some people just have that much influence over the Star Wars news. Lucasfilm has yet to confirm a Star Wars series in the style of What If, but if the rumors are true, again, they have not confirmed it, but if the rumors are true, it would be only a matter of time before the show is officially announced. The studio has recently clarified their upcoming slate, though confirming that Daisy Ridley's Star Wars movie, along with Dawn of the Jedi film and Dave Filoni's Mandoverse crossover movie, are still in development. Daisy Ridley recently spoke up about coming back to the galaxy far, far away, saying that the script is a really fantastic exploration of the Star Wars world, before adding that Lucasfilm has found a really cool way to take the story on a bit of a different direction. We'll talk about what Daisy Ridley said in a little bit too about her own movie. Lucasfilm also added a new movie to the slate titled The Mandalorian and Grogu. The story will center on Din Djarin and his adoptive son Din Grogu. If you guys forgot, his name is Din Grogu. And the rumor is it will take the place of the 4th season of The Mandalorian. So, yeah. Then for some reason they got this from the holiday special or whatever that is. They got this guy from, what's this guy's name? Somebody in the chat help me out. What's this guy's name from Rebels? Oh, I don't know. I can't think of it. They got that and they got that. I don't know why those are the pictures they chose, but yeah. So that's that. A What If series, possibly in the works. Only one guy is saying it. He's not saying it publicly. He only said it on his Patreon, and it broke the Star Wars fandom. For the last 3 days, it's all people can talk about is what if we got a Star Wars What If TV series. It's a cool conversation to have because you can talk about what ifs all day long. What if this happened? What if that happened? It's cool, but it's unlikely to happen. It is unlikely to happen. So let me catch up on your chats real quick, and then we're going to get into this Rey news, because this Rey news is quite crazy. It's quite crazy. All right, let's see. Rem says, I said no in the poll. Give me canon only. I have to agree with you on that. I like the canon only aspect of it, and I don't want the What If series. I agree. Travis says, with the restraining bolt, R2 would probably would have probably found the remote and destroyed it, or even killed Owen and Peru to make sure he was able to escape, and that would actually be amazing. Imagine R2-D2 kills Uncle Owen and Aunt Peru. That would be wild. That would be wild. Yeah. Yeah. Catherine says, Young Jedi is actually for preschoolers. I watched it with my grandson. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. John Groom says, what if Palpatine's clone was infertile? Then Rey wouldn't have happened. That's for sure. Rey would not have happened. Oz Morgan. Yes. Yes. Serious Speed Reviews coming in clutch. Oz Morgan. Yes, I could not think of that for my life, and I probably never would have thought of that if I was given all the time in the world. Yeah. Yeah. Aurora Uplinks, what's up, Aurora, says, just came to give you a good luck. Oh, well, thanks. On what? I appreciate it. Travis says, I had an outline for a follow-up arc to the Umbara arc, the one from Clone Wars. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's the one with the mean dude. What the hell is his name? Who, tries to kill Rex and stuff. The one deal with the dogma put on trial for Krell's death. I think there's a great story there. There is probably a great story there for sure. What if Han Solo was a Mandalorian? Ooh, Alexandra, I like that. I like that a lot. What if Han Solo was on Mandalore instead of Corellia, or was at least found by a Mandalorian, became a foundling, and became a Mandalorian? Imagine Han Solo. That'd be wild. Aurora says, FYI, the Grogu movie and the Mandalorian should be pretty good. Favreau does good scripts when it's something that he has control of. Disney is giving him full control, I think, this time. Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be really good. For sure. 100%. It's going to be so good. The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be a multi-billion-dollar movie, I think. For sure. Tiffany says, just quickly want to say that Rebels isn't appreciated enough. I know the animated style sucks, but it was a great show and continues through Ahsoka. 100%. I think Rebels is still the most underappreciated, underrated Star Wars content that there is. It's just some people can't look past the animated style. Some people just don't want to give it a chance. I don't know what it is, but it's some of the greatest Star Wars, not only storytelling, but some of the best new characters are in that. Like Kanan's incredible, Ezra's incredible, the whole cast and crew are incredible. But again, Ahsoka is probably the best live action Disney Plus series there is, and it's literally just a continuation of Rebels. That's it. It's a continuation of all those characters' stories. So, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love Rebels too. Aurora says, I just meant good luck with the show. Oh, thanks, Aurora. I appreciate that then. I think it's a pretty good show so far. What do you guys think? Freak6 says, what if Star Wars had their own Guardians of the Galaxy? What would be the species equivalent to make up the team? Oh, wow. I don't even know. What would be Groot? I don't know. I really don't know. Well, an Ugnaught or a Jawa, I guess. A Jawa would probably be Rocket. Gamora would probably be a Twi'lek. Probably. Like Harrison Dula. Nebula would be like a cyborg type character, so she would be like a Vespa gang member. She'd be a Vespa gang member. Peter Quill, of course, is a human, so he would just be a human. Drax would be Drax would be an Utapawan. Drax would be an Utapawan from Revenge of the Sith. Who are the other members of the Guardians of the Galaxy? I don't know. I think Wookiee is Groot. Yes, a Wookiee would be Groot. Yes, there you go. And then a Wookiee would be Groot. Boom, there you go. That's your Guardians of the Galaxy. In the Star Wars universe. Officer Murdoch says, I don't think that the animated style of Rebels sucks. I like the series very much. I don't think the animation style sucks. I think it's just really hard for people to get over when they're watching the show. Once you get into it and once you watch it for a long period of time, the animation's actually pretty good. It's just different from the Clone Wars, and people who love the Clone Wars didn't really like the animation style. Yeah. Mark Hauser, what's up? Mark says, I liked the Marvel's What If series. They seem more adult-oriented. I've been watching Star Wars since the originals came out in 1970s. Ooh, cool. I would want to watch a Star Wars What If series, but... I agree with you, and that's actually really cool that you got to watch all the Star Wars in the theaters. I'm jealous, but I understand where you're coming from. You want to watch What Ifs. I get it, but, yeah. Aurora says, a Tordarian. If he's a good character, maybe? What the hell's a Tordarian? Am I just blanking on what this is? A Toydarian. What? Let me type, goddammit. Toydarian. Star Wars. Oh, the Watto species. A Toydarian would be Rocket, you're saying, in the Guardians of the Galaxy? But he flies. I want to see some Jawas in space. Yeah, Jawas are underutilized, I think. Let's be honest. Chris says, what's your TikTok name account? Well, a guy who loves Star Wars. Yeah. Catherine says, Rebels was a great show. Resistance was terrible, but I wanted to get through the entire canon. I actually still haven't watched Resistance. Maybe I'll force myself to get through it. But, yeah, no interest there. Travis says, Rocket Raccoon is a little bat dude from the cantina who looked way too young to be drinking. Bat dude from the cantina? What? Bat dude from Star Wars cantina. Let's see if it shows up. From the description. Oh, wow. Just from that description it came up. It was the first thing that came up. That's actually hilarious. So you're saying Rocket would be this guy right here? This guy, let me go full screen with him. Open a new tab. this is Rocket Raccoon in the Star Wars Guardians of the Galaxy. That's hilarious. Hang on, let's pull up this picture of him. This is a scary looking dude. Oops, no, go away. Don't do that. This guy's honestly frightening. This is, look at his two little teeth in the front. He's just got a giant bat head in a normal human body. What? That's crazy. That's crazy. But I love it. Fearless says, the only thing I can't get over in Rebels is Ezra's hairstyle in season 3 and 4. Whoever came up with that, yeah, he's just got like the buzz cut kind of thing going on. It's kind of when he goes evil is when he gets that, and then they just keep it for a while. Yeah. Aurora says, I just meant that there would be good potential if they were funny. Yeah, I get what you mean. For sure. Travis says, actually, Watto as a Tordarian would be hilarious. Watto is, what? Freak Seek says, Amando for Star-Lord. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, Mandalorian is Star-Lord. So Din Djarin would be Star-Lord. Miralyn, like Barriss Offee, would be Gamora. Actually, that would be a good one, too. Or it could be Twi'lek, a green Twi'lek. Drax would be a good whatever Max Rebo is. A Drax Rebo. Looks nothing like Drax. Chris says, I just added you on my TikTok account. I appreciate that, Chris. Travis says, I meant Rocket as a... Oh, I get you. Yeah. All right. Let's dive into this. We're getting way off topic, so I got to reel us back in here. Let's talk about this Rey news, okay? So, the Rey movie. Is it delayed? Is it not delayed? That's the question of the hour today. So let's end this last poll. As 78%, the math is not mathing, 78% of you guys do want a Star Wars What If series. To 21% of you do not. We're going to start up a new poll. Do you think the Rey movie is delayed indefinitely? Indefinitely. Did I spell that right? I think so. Indefinitely. Yes or no? You tell me. Because we're going to talk about all this. Okay. The Rey movie this morning was announced by a Reddit user and then by Bespin Bulletin, who's a very reliable person. We talk about Bespin all the time here. Probably one of the most reliable, if not the most reliable industry insider when it comes to Star Wars content. Then he wrote an article about it. The Rey movie has been delayed indefinitely due to creative issues with Stephen Knight, who is, of course, the writer of the movie. So it has nothing to do. When you hear the Rey movie's delayed indefinitely, you immediately think it's because it's a Rey movie, it's because it's an extension of the sequel trilogy, or because of Charmin is been spewing out nonsense. No, none of that is the case. It's because of Stephen Knight, the writer of the movie. That was the initial report. It's been delayed indefinitely because Stephen Knight has had creative issues with Lucasfilm and is going to do his own movie instead, his Peaky Blinders movie. Now, just about 5-ish hours later, another report comes out that another industry insider who is not as reliable, let me put that out there, has heard from his Lucasfilm executives that no, this movie is still on track and Stephen Knight is writing his final draft right now. So it's kind of a question of who do we believe, who don't we believe? Is this movie delayed indefinitely? Is it not delayed indefinitely? We're going to break everything down that we know so far in the rest of the stream, and then at the end of the stream, or in a few, at the end of our reading of these articles and figuring it out, all the evidence laid out in front of us, we're going to come to a consensus as a chat today. on whether or not this movie is delayed or not. I was working on it before the stream. I'm going to be working on it after the stream. A video for tomorrow. And this video is going to be whether or not this is delayed or not. Conflicting reports are going on all over the place. It's being delayed indefinitely. It's not delayed at all. We're going to break it all down, come to a consensus today as a chat on whether or not the Rey movie is being delayed. This is kind of crazy news, as last week we talked about the Mando movie, Ahsoka Season 2 being confirmed. Was that all just a front? Was that all just to cover up the disaster that's going on behind the scenes with the Rey movie? We're going to talk about it. So, right off the bat, 67% of you do think that this movie is delayed. We'll see if that changes. Okay, let's start with the initial report from Bespin Bulletin, okay? So this was what first kind of made the fandom go crazy, is when Bespin posted this. Whoops, you guys can't see that. Daisy Ridley's Star Wars untitled Rey Palpatine Star Wars movie reportedly delayed indefinitely. Stephen Knight possibly exiting the film. Okay, and that's Rey. Okay, let's read it. The untitled Rey Skywalker or Palpatine movie led by Daisy Ridley is reportedly having issues in the creative process, and that due to these issues, the writer of the film may be on the verge of exiting, and the film itself has suffered an indefinite delay. Here we go. By the way, before we dive into the rest of this article, smash a freaking like on this stream. We got 20 people here and only 17 likes. What's up with that? Okay, just had to get that out there. According to the new report from World of Real. Okay, so let's hang on. World of Real is a Reddit user and not a very reliable person. So, this report actually came out a few days ago that this was happening behind the scenes from this person. But nobody really went with that because it's not a reliable person commenting about it. However, now Bespin is backing this person up and saying that they've heard very similar things. So now we believe it. Now we think it's real, at least for the next couple hours, as conflicting reports come out. An outlet I've followed for a long time and read almost daily. So this Reddit user, Bespin Bulletin, has followed for a long time and read almost daily. The Daisy Ridley-led flick has suffered an indefinite delay. World of Reels isn't known for breaking stories on blockbuster franchises such as Star Wars and Marvel, so the name might not be too familiar to my readers, but they get a lot right with smaller movies, which is why I follow their work. For that reason, this report shouldn't be written off, but just because an outlet is reliable on one field doesn't mean that they are on another. In their article, World of Real shared that they aren't keen on looking for information on Star Wars, but that well-informed sources have shared details worth sharing. So they've heard stuff that was so important, i.e. the Rey movie being delayed indefinitely, that they had to share it to all their users. They don't usually cover Star Wars. These people, they don't cover Star Wars usually. They cover smaller movies. But they had some information that they had to get out. And even Bespin says, we got to talk about this. So, we'll see. Freak C says, saw that Star Wars Theory had it on his thumbnail as canceled. I mean, what are you going to do? Clickbait, am I right? All right. World of Reels are reporting that Daisy has internally delayed the... Wait, what? Oh, Disney. I was like, Daisy Ridley delayed her own movie? Disney has internally delayed the Rey Skywalker film indefinitely, which is why they've pivoted to The Mandalorian and Grogu being the next theatrical release feature film, and why that flick was announced just last week. Reels added that due to the creative issues going on behind the scenes, Disney and Lucasfilm are no longer confident that the Rey movie will release in the near future. So the same reason that we're getting this Mando movie first is the same reason that this Rey movie is possibly being delayed, because it's not ready to go, and the writer is not writing the script right now, or at least it's not good, is what he's writing. So the Mando movie was announced to make fans happy. Let's be honest, it's not a sequel movie. People really, really like uh, the Mandalorian characters, so they're going to please them by giving them a Mando movie. As mentioned, the problems plaguing the Daisy Ridley-led film stem from creative issues. According to the World of Real, Lucasfilm and the film's current writer, Stephen Knight, Peaky Blinders, is what he created, are butting heads. Knight has reportedly submitted a draft, and Lucasfilm did not like what he turned in, giving Knight so many notes that he would essentially have to start from scratch on a new draft. So right there, he submitted his first draft for the movie, and it was not what Lucasfilm wanted at all, and they gave him so many notes back that he pretty much had to restart the whole movie. The outlet goes on to say that Stephen Knight's frustration with the studio has continued to grow, and it's seemingly at a boiling point, as the writer might not be staying on board the Rey film. World of Real added that Knight has put Star Wars on the back burner as he focuses on his efforts on completing the script for his Peaky Blinder movie, which is due to begin filming this summer. It was supposed to be due last fall, after suffering delays in development and production due to the strikes, of course, in Hollywood. So, again, we talked about this a little bit. He's putting Star Wars on the back burner because of the fact that his Peaky Blinders movie is more important to him because he created Peaky Blinders, and he wants to make that movie first because it's filming this summer, and he doesn't really care as much about Star Wars as he does about his Peaky Blinders. Rightfully so. Last week, Making Star Wars reported that according to a source of his, Stephen Knight had yet to complete a draft of the Daisy Ridley-led feature, and added, "I'm not saying that he will write it or not, I don't know." Making Star Wars shared that the scheduling and stars did not align for Knight at Lucasfilm. So even Making Star Wars was casting doubt on whether or not Stephen Knight was going to continue his work with this movie. Development on the untitled Rey Skywalker movie began over 2 years ago with Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson writing the project. In 2022, Damon Lindelof assembled a writer's room for the project, which was envisioned as a standalone film, but if successful, sequels would follow. Members of the Lindelof writing room included Patrick Somerville, and others, so I'm not even going to read them, as well as some members of the Lucasfilm story group. In March of 2023, Lindelof and Britt Gibson exited the project. They were fired, let's be honest. Exited the project and were immediately replaced with Stephen Knight. So they worked on the project for over a year. They worked on the Rey movie for over a year, from 2022 to 2023. And then they got let go and immediately replaced by Stephen Knight. According to Jeff Snyder, who first broke the Lindelof was writing a Star Wars movie and was first to break that he exited the project, Lindelof's scripts weren't good enough, and that Lucasfilm was not had no intention, in working things out with Lindelof and Gibson due to the quality of the script. Snyder added that he'd heard the friction between the two writers and Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy and film director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. There was friction between them. So that seems to be the common denominator here, is Lucasfilm's president Kathleen Kennedy and director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy are hard to work with. At least Kathleen Kennedy's been known to be very hard to work with in past. Look at all the creatives that have left Star Wars or have been fired from Star Wars or whatever it may be. Their projects are shelved or canceled or delayed. The list goes on and on. Kevin Feige, Patty Jenkins, Dan and Dave from Game of Thrones, Taika Waititi, Sean Levy, all these people who are making Star Wars movies right now, they aren't. The majority of them are not. So it seems like Lucasfilm, or Kathleen Kennedy specifically, is hard to work with. And that seems to be the common denominator in all these equations. But with this one, for instance, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is, of course, the director, and Kathleen Kennedy is the president. There was a lot of friction with Damon Lindelof and Gibson, and now there's a lot of friction with Stephen Knight. In April of 2023, the Rey Skywalker movie was officially announced at Star Wars Celebration. When on stage, Kathleen Kennedy and Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy revealed that the film was set 15 years after the events of Star Wars Rise of Skywalker and would follow Rey as she attempts to construct a new Jedi Order. During interviews that followed, Kathleen Kennedy revealed that Stephen Knight was due to submit his first draft in mid-May. However, that did not come to fruition as the writers' strike began on May 2nd of 2023 and ran until September of 2023. During that time, Knight was not permitted to work on the script. In June, Lucasfilm set 3 release dates for untitled Star Wars movies: May of 2026, December of 2026, and December of 2027. It was widely believed that and reported by various insiders and traders that the untitled Rey movie would helm that May 2026 release date, and that the movie was Lucasfilm's priority. In November of 2023, the film's lead, Daisy Ridley, shared that she believed the Rey movie was the next Star Wars film to be released into theaters, further pointing at the May 2026 release window. However, everything changed last week. Last week, Lucasfilm announced The Mandalorian and Grogu, a film being written by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, which the former would also direct. Dave Filoni will be directing. Within its announcement, Lucasfilm revealed that it will be set to be produced this year and will lead Lucasfilm's theatrical release, meaning it will be the first movie to be released into theaters, taking the place of the Rey movie. Dave Filoni's Mandoverse crossover film event and James Mangold's Star Wars movie that will focus on the first ever Jedi. Due to Lucasfilm stating when production was due to start for The Mandalorian and Grogu, it's going to lead their theatrical slate. It's assumed to be taking that May 2026 release window. Thank you for reading his article. So that was the first thing to be released today. That was this morning. Let's talk about that specifically. So the source that it's coming from is a Reddit user, someone who only usually talks about smaller movies, never really Star Wars or Marvel or anything like that. However, they had something so big in information about Star Wars that they had to get it out there. The fact of the matter is there's a big controversy between Kathleen Kennedy and Sharmina Bed-Chinoy with Stephen Knight. His film's not good enough. His first draft wasn't nearly what they wanted. And they gave him back so many notes that he had to pretty much restart his whole draft. That's the first report that we got this morning. What do we think about that? Before we even get into the conflicting reports, let's talk about this one first. This would make it seem like last week's announcements of the Mandalorian movie and Ahsoka Season 2 were kind of just to cover this all up. That's what it feels like to me, at least. It feels like they wanted to get ahead of this and cover it up with a better story. And it is a better story. I think almost 9.9 out of 10 Star Wars fans would rather see a Mando movie than a Rey movie. Let's go look at the numbers. I mean, I did this poll on my account just the other day. On the community tab, we did a poll on which movie are you most excited for, and it's not even close. The Mando movie's at 51%. Second place is Dawn of the Jedi with 28%. Third place is Dave's Mando movie at 17%. And the Rey movie's got 4% with over 3,000 votes. 4% of 3,000 is still a pretty big number, but not bigger than 51% of 3,000. And this one too. Yeah. Would you go see the Rey movie in theaters? 78% of people said no. 80% of people said no. So maybe Disney saw these numbers and said, we got to make a change. Not only do we have to delay this movie, but we have to change it drastically. And that could mean getting a new writer, new director, new story entirely. Because let me be honest here. I'm kind of excited for the Rey movie. In a weird way, I think it could do a lot for the future of Star Wars. We have to move past the sequels eventually. And the Rey movie is doing that. If it can also fix the character of Rey and Finn and Poe and Rose and Kylo, if it can do all that at the same time, while also setting up the future past the sequel trilogy for success, that's big news. That's a big deal. But not if it's being written poorly, not if it's being directed poorly, not if it's being produced poorly. So it needs to be a success. If they need to delay it for a long, long time to get it right, then do it. A delay indefinitely does not mean cancellation. It does not mean this movie's not happening anymore. Even if Stephen Knight leaves the project, they're going to find another writer. This movie will still happen. It just might not happen the way that it seems to be right now. The lineup might not be Stephen Knight, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, and Kathleen Kennedy. It might be new director. For example, Bryce Dallas Howard, if you want a female director. New writer, Dave Filoni. New producer, Dave Filoni. Seems like a no-brainer to me, honestly. But what do we think? Let me pull up the chat so I can see what you guys are talking about. I'm not even looking at it right now. Okay. You got a lot of... Okay, here we go. Mark Hauser says, Rocket Raccoon would fit perfectly in Star Wars. His snarky attitude and attitude with weapons would be interesting to see. That's true. Rocket Raccoon could be perfectly placed into the Star Wars galaxy. Catherine says, to have watched the Star Wars as they came out, you'd have to be at least 50. You can binge watch everything instead of waiting years between each episode. That's true. I have been binge watched everything. And I'm only 21. Fearless says, no, I can't believe that. Unless the news comes from Lucasfilm or Disney themselves, then it's gonna be happening? Oh, the movie's gonna be happening. Well, we'll talk about the conflicting reports in just a second. OgMC, what's up? Says, yo, hope your day is going well. It's going well. How's yours? Mace Cameron, what's up? Says, I accidentally pressed yes, but I think it won't be delayed until Disney, because Disney always gets what they want. I actually disagree. I think Disney delays a lot of their projects all the time, Mace. I think they delay everything. So a delay is not uncommon. And especially if the film is in disarray, we should get a delay. Yeah. Officer Murdoch says, why do we call it the Rey movie? Rey is just a minor character in that new movie. Well, the reason we call it the Rey movie because we don't know. We don't know if she's going to be a main character, a minor character. We really don't know. But all we know is that it's 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker and Rey starting her new Jedi Order. So I guess we could call it New Jedi Order movie, but it's more confusing. Everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say the Rey movie, so that's why we call it that. Yeah, Chris says, I heard that the Rey movie's script is being rewritten, and I hope it doesn't affect the Star Wars fandom for the Rey movie. What? Oh, it's being rewritten? Yeah, so it seems like it might be getting rewritten right now. And maybe even the writer might leave, if it is Stephen Knight. He's doing his own movie. He's writing and directing a Peaky Blinders movie this summer. He's going to be a busy man. Mark says, wow, I would have guessed the delay would have been because of the drama with the director. I'm all for women and equal rights and empowerment, but I found her comments kind of offensive. Yeah, a lot of people would have thought that because it's a Rey movie, it's an extension of the sequels. What Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy said would be the reason that it's being delayed, but no, it's not. None of that. It's actually the writer, Stephen Knight. Freak says, I saw that Star Wars Theory has a thumbnail that it was canceled. Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. Anthony says, the untitled, unmade, ill-conceived Rey movie. That's how they should refer to this abomination. All right, I will from now on. Jason says, Star Wars Theory is clickbaiting sometimes. Yeah, I mean, whatever works. Whatever works for you. Anthony says, I find it very hard to believe that Kathleen Kennedy would be okay if a movie came out after the sequel trilogy and it doesn't heavily feature Super Rey. Super Rey. That's why the Lindelof script was nixed. Yeah. I think the Lindelof script involved an 80-year-old Rey, so I think that wasn't really what was supposed to go down. Yeah. Officer Murdoch says, do we agree that The Mandalorian and Grogu isn't a good movie title? I definitely think that it's hopefully not the final title, The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's not the worst title in the world, but it's definitely not the best. Definitely not the best, yeah. Yeah. OgMC says, this movie shouldn't be made until the New Republic era is done. Yeah. I mean, that's probably the smart way to do it, but it's not the way they're going to do it. Yeah. And Anthony says, OGMC, you know what your problem is? You're making way too much sense. Stop that. Yeah, you're making too much sense with that great point. Stop. Chris says, do you think Anakin will come back for Ahsoka Season 2? Good question. Yes, I think you'll see Force Ghost Anakin again in Ahsoka Season 2. I don't know how much, but I'm sure you will. Yeah. Freak6 says, might as well take the time to get it right. The movie has potential to be great. Exactly. I'm not upset about these delays. They're not like, oh no, don't delay this movie. That'll be the worst thing ever. No, no, no. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're going to delay this movie to get it right, perfect. Do that. Do it. Do it. I got to add a do it button. Damn it.
This is where the fun begins.
Just delay it, okay? You don't need to have this movie be bad. You definitely don't. You can't have this movie to be divisive or anything like that. So it's got to be good. Yeah, for sure. Clem says, hello, Star Wars fans. What's up? Aaron says, hello there. How we doing? Tiffany says, yeah, I feel good about a delay if it means they're going to get it right. I agree. And this is a movie that you can delay because Star Wars fans won't be upset about it. They won't. They really won't. The majority of them, at least. Most fans are actually happy about a delay with this movie. But if you get it right, fans will come around. Only George Lucas can fix this, I believe. It's Gem. Okay, cool. Cool. Thanks for clearing that up. Gem. D-Gem? D-Gem? I think George Lucas could fix this, but I also think that we could have some other people fix it, for sure. Yeah. All right. Let's get in to the conflicting reports now. So that report kind of made its way around. Everybody made a video on it. I started making a video on it. And this video will drop tomorrow still. We reworking the video to talk both sides. Okay? So this is the conflicting reports. Let's get into this. So that came out before. And then the Gizmondo was like, no. This is different. Dominic, what's up? Dominic says, in Dave we trust. Yes, indeed, in Dave we trust. And Dominic, I saw your message at the beginning of the video. Don't worry about it. Again, guys, if you guys can't make a stream, do not worry about it at all. You can either watch it on the rewatch or not watch it at all, as long as you're around supporting the channel. I appreciate you guys all the same. All right. Then this was the conflicting report that came out shortly after, just a few hours later. Hudson O'Connell, what's up, Hudson, says, how about just cancel the Rey movie? I think a lot of fans would agree with you on that, but that's just not going to happen. But here was the conflicting report from the Gizmondo. No, Rey's Star Wars movie has not been delayed. Rumors about Sharmina Bencino's Daisy Ridley starring Star Wars movie are incorrect, like Anakin would say. I forgot to add the Anakin thing too. Damn it. All right, let me zoom in a little bit on this. These words are too small for me to read. Much better. You can take that latest Star Wars rumor and throw it into a Sarlacc pit. Earlier this week, rumors surfaced of the upcoming Sharmina Bencino Star Wars film featuring the return of Daisy Ridley as Rey would be delayed indefinitely. The reason? Creative differences with the film's writer, Stephen Knight. We just talked about that. Well, that's not true. According to Lucasfilm, a source at the company told IO9. No idea who that is. The report is inaccurate, and Knight continues to write and be a part of the process. In fact, the company is awaiting his last draft as you read this. Now, you can certainly understand the confusion. Last week's announcement of the previously announced unannounced The Mandalorian and Grogu as the next Star Wars movie threw a wrench in everyone's assumptions on the Rey New Jedi Order film that would be the next one out. However, the news merely shifted things around, and as has been demonstrated with this film and its numerous writers over the past few years, the company seems to just want to take its time to make sure it gets everything right. I agree with this. Take your time to get everything right with this Rey movie, especially with this Rey movie. But for reasons we can only guess at. The movie in particular has drawn the dark side out of certain pockets of the Star Wars fandom. You can only guess at the main character of the film is Rey. From inaccurate plot summaries to quotes from the film's director being taken out of context, some Star Wars fans are simply up in arms about the Star Wars film about a woman being directed by a woman. But no matter what people want to believe about this movie, it is still doing just fine. Okay, so this right here, we got to talk about. Some Star Wars fans are simply up in arms about a Star Wars film being about a woman and being directed by a woman. This is something that we know here in this chat, especially on this channel, especially means absolutely, like, this is not what we're talking about. It's fantastic that a woman's directing Star Wars. We love that. Applause. Hit the applause button. A woman main character in Star Wars, Ahsoka's literally my favorite character in all of Star Wars. Round of applause. Fantastic. So, just because it's a main role as a woman and being directed by a woman means nothing in this conversation. Absolutely nothing in this conversation, because they don't understand that this is an extension of the sequel trilogy, which is extremely divisive. The woman character that they are talking about is Rey, which is extremely divisive. And the things that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy said, we're not talking about the completely misquoted one from 8 years ago where she was talking about Pakistan and horrible things. We're talking about the ones that she said a few weeks ago about a woman finally shaping the path in Star Wars, blah, 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 blah. That stuff. We talk about it straight here. We talk about the truth here. We talk about what's really going on here. And what's really going on is this movie is extremely divisive because it is a divisive topic. It's the sequels. It's Rey. It's divisive. Simple as that. And we're not sitting here today saying, oh, this movie's going to be canceled or delayed because of Rey, because of Sharmeen. No, it's because of Stephen Knight, the white male writer. And again, has nothing to do with him being a white male at all. Ugh, I hate it. I hate it. Hate it. Hate it. Yeah. Now, so the divisiveness, at least in this community, I can only speak for this community right here, the 20 some odd people we got in the chat right now. The conversation we're having today has nothing to do with the fact that they're women, has nothing to do with the fact that anything like that. Politics out of it. The fact of the matter is the sequels were shaky. The story was holy. It looked like a pile of Swiss cheese. And the fandom became completely divided because The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, in those two movies, starred Rey. Now, a Rey movie is extremely divisive. Are you with me so far? Because this article just got me all types of heated. Okay, let's keep reading. Now, to be fair, can anyone say with 100% certainty that it's coming out? Of course not. This is Star Wars, and if the last 10 years have taught us anything, it's that until cameras start rolling, and sometimes not even then, not everything that's announced ends up happening. But right now, at the moment, this particular film has not been delayed despite what you have heard in other pockets of the internet. Okay? So, that's the end of this article from the Gizmondo. Okay? Now, both sources, as far as I know, are unreliable. The World of Reels guy on Reddit, unreliable. This person, zero track record in the Star Wars realm. They're just claiming that a Lucasfilm executive came to them. The other person is claiming that they have a source in there. If it was Bespin who heard it, that's a little different. Bespin's just solely going off this person online. So both are saying completely different things. Both having absolutely nothing to back them up. Nothing to back them up. Purely based off of the fact that the Mandalorian movie was announced last week is the fact of the matter that that movie will come out first. The Rey movie will come out second. It's being delayed. It's being delayed. Regardless of what you think, it's being delayed. If it was supposed to come out May 22nd of 2026, it's not. The Mando movie is. So it's being delayed one way or another. Second, the Stephen Knight stuff. There's no denying that he is directing and writing the Peaky Blinders movie this year, in the summer. He's a busy guy. So it would make sense that he's going to put Star Wars on the back burner and not focus on that while he's writing his Peaky Blinders movie? That makes perfect sense. The Ray movie hasn't had any announcement as to when it's going to go into production. The Mando movie did. The Mando movie's going into production this year. The Ray movie's not, as far as we know. So the actual things that we know, the facts that are being told to us, this Mando movie goes into production this year. The Peaky Blinders movie starts filming this summer. He's writing and directing that. Facts lead us to believe that this Ray movie will be delayed. Now, whether it's delayed indefinitely or not remains to be seen. But there's no denying that the delay is happening. It's just how big of a delay and whether or not Stephen Knight will still be the writer of this movie. It is quite a controversial, conflicting stories type thing, but when you look at straight facts, we can come to our own sort of conclusion here on whether or not this is going to be delayed or not. I think, in my own head, when you look at what you see, Peaky Blinders movie filming this year, Mando movie filming this year, Ray movie not filming this year, shakiness around the Ray movie, to say the least. So, in my own head, I see this as a delay. I think it's going to be delayed, and I think maybe it's not a drastic delay. Maybe it's not delayed indefinitely, but indefinitely is just that. There's no definitive point to where it's being delayed to right now. Could it be delayed to December of 2026? Yes. Could it be delayed to December of 2027? Sure. But it's indefinite. We don't know. So to say that the Ray movie has been delayed indefinitely is a strange thing. It didn't have a release date in the first place. We just assumed that it would be in May of 2026. But it was never given that release date. So you can't delay something that hasn't been given a release date. However, it's going to take longer to make this movie than we first were told. So it's very, very, this person said this person said that person said this person said that type of situation we're in right now. But needless to say, the controversy around the Ray movie is still going strong. And people are using this, a possible delay, as ammunition all over the place. Online, on Twitter, on every comment section possible to voice their opinion about the Ray movie. But let's see what you guys think. Is this movie being delayed, yes or no? What do we think? Right now, the poll sits at 69%. Nice. 69% of you guys say yes. This movie will be delayed indefinitely. And again, indefinitely does not mean for the rest of time. It means we don't know when it will be delayed until. Let's see what you guys say. All right, let me scroll up. Where was I? Officer Murdoch says, we need sequels to the sequels. We definitely need sequels to the sequels. There's no way you can just never go past the sequels. I think going to Rey is probably not the best bet. Again, a very divisive character. Probably should have went with Grogu in the first place, but I don't know. That's we'll see. Dominic says, we'll always support this channel. Well, I appreciate you, Dominic. Jem says, I mean, I'm okay with Rey. Just don't change the actor every time. Stay with it. I'm getting more confused as it is already. What do you mean change the actor? Actor of Rey? Hudson says, maybe my response was a little extreme. Maybe. Just cancel the movie. It was a little extreme. Ah, that's why I recognize that name. It's Cappy. Okay, that makes sense. Jem says, they messed up big time. It just seems like today's news is like, why can't Lucasfilm just come out and say, you're wrong? Stephen Knight is still hard at work on this Rey movie. Is that so hard? Is that really that hard? Just post a picture of Stephen Knight writing on a piece of paper that says Rey movie on it, classified, and say, Rey movie draft is done. Or something along those lines. Just tell fans that we're wrong. If it's not delayed indefinitely, tell us. Is that so hard? We know for a fact that they are seeing this conversation. Maybe not on this channel, but they're seeing the conversation. The whole conversation on Twitter today has been about this. A delay indefinitely for the Ray movie. Why not just clear it up? Tell us what's going on. Yeah. Officer Murdoch says, I meant a prequel to the sequels. Sorry. Well, we definitely will be getting prequels to sequels, as the Mando movies will be prequels to the sequels, for sure. But I think you mean probably Luke Skywalker stuff and Ben Solo stuff. Ben Solo's Fall to the Dark Side. I'd love to see that as well. Og MC says, chances that the movie is still going to film this year, I would say very low. I think The Mandalorian's, of course, going into production this year. I think if the Rey movie is going to go into production this year, it will be like in the last couple months of this year, in the last quarter of this year. It won't be anytime soon. Yeah. Not the Sarlacc bit. Yeah. Jem says, I don't want to be short. What? I don't want it to be shot if it is this worse. I'm 47 and have been in the fan base for 40 years. Disney just F's it up. Okay. I think I follow, but I don't really follow. Jason says, I think chances are not high that the Rey movie starts filming this year. I agree. I don't think it will film this year, which indicates a delay. Yeah. Jem says, I'm sorry. Anthony says, damn it, why are Star Wars fans always being blamed for Disney/Lucasfilm Ltd's company/content screw-ups? Stop deflecting. Yeah, it seems that way. Whenever there's bad news from Lucasfilm, they just throw it back at their fans. Not Lucasfilm specifically, but people in general. The people who are writing articles, for lack of a better word, the people who are writing these articles are saying that it's all on the Star Wars fans. It's their fault for loving this content so much. It's their fault for seeing the sequels trilogy as divisive. It's a little strange. It's a little strange to me. It's not racist, it's discriminating. Yeah, no. It's neither. I mean, yes, there is a lot of that in the Star Wars fandom, but not in this piece of the Star Wars fandom. Those are a very, very small portion of the fandom that we don't even see as Star Wars fans. People who bring that stuff up, if race or gender has anything to do with any sort of conversation around Star Wars, you're in the wrong conversation. You're talking about the wrong thing. And that's why this is the last time I'll even bring it up. Dominic says, I believe if writing was better, Rey would have been done so well. I sat down a day and thought about it, and Rey's character was good in The Force Awakens, but in The Last Jedi, it falls apart. Yeah, Dominic, you're not wrong. I always say this. The Force Awakens is a quality movie. Yes, a lot of the plot is the same as A New Hope. Yes, but the character arcs, the characters that are developed from Kylo Ren to Rey to Snoke to Finn to Poe to everybody in the movie, starts off in a way, even Captain Phasma, starts off in a way where you're like, I want to know more. I want to know more, and I can't wait to learn more. The problem is, when you learned more in The Last Jedi, it became bad. All the story arcs were destroyed. All of them were annihilated. And it was just a disaster. So yes, The Force Awakens is a good movie. Yes, those characters are all good in The Force Awakens. Rey's good in The Force Awakens. Kylo's great in The Force Awakens. Finn's great in The Force Awakens. Poe Dameron's pretty damn good in The Force Awakens, even though he's not in most of the movie. Yeah. It's just sad. Because we're not talking about the fact that Rey is Rey, or a woman, or anything like that. We're talking about the character arc, the character development that was in the sequel trilogy, and it was bad. It was bad. You had two, even take The Last Jedi out of it. You had two movies, Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, that had a semi-cohesive story. For some characters. Let's take Rey, for example. She's trying to find her way in all this. She finds out that she's a nobody, and Kylo Ren offers her his hand, and she says no. Then the third movie says, yeah, she's not a nobody. She's a freaking Palpatine. And then by the end of the movie, no, she's actually a Skywalker. It's just really bad writing that leads fans to dislike this character. So when we talk about a movie that is centered around Rey, because everybody calls it the Rey movie, people are going to have their own opinions about it. For sure. Catherine says, the bottom line is a good story. Yeah, the bottom line is good story. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. If the sequel trilogy had a good story, we would not be having this conversation. Yeah. Yeah. And with that, can I please get some good cups, follow orders in the chat? Some GCFOs. Look at this cup. Rise of Skywalker, am I right? What a day. What a day. All right. Let's see. Dominic says, outside of this community right here, everyone else using the woke movement to hate on everything. There's really nothing wrong with female leads or female directors. There is absolutely nothing wrong. Nothing. Not a one. Not a thing. Not a one thing. Shouldn't even be the topic of conversation. It's the character of Rey that's divisive, not the girl who's playing Rey. It's the things that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is saying, not Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy being a woman director. Literally has nothing to do with it. Jason says, when I first watched episode 7, I really liked Rey. Me too. A scavenger. Like, not only was she a scavenger from a desert planet, but Jakku itself was cool. Like, the Battle of Jakku sounded awesome. The fact that her parents left her there, the fact that she was really good as a pilot, the fact that she had that raw strength, where did that come from? Where did that go? Where did that come from? Cotton Eye Joe. It really just made you want to know more. And the fact of the matter is, when you learned more, you didn't like it. Yeah. Jem says, first 6 were good, but I've never had the same feeling with the new... The first 6 were good, but I never had the same feeling of the first 3 with A New Hope, etc. My problem with Rey, to be honest, is she's fine, but come on. Okay. I think I follow. Yeah, I think the latest 3 movies with the sequel trilogy just missed on telling a great story. They decided to try and do their own thing. They decided to not have a cohesive story, and look what happened. Dominic says, oh no, I just scrolled all the way to the bottom. Where was I? Oh, found it. Dominic says, furthermore, Ahsoka was the greatest Star Wars in 2023. Agreeable. Arguably. And in the top 5 Star Wars series of all time. But people saw female lead and said woke, and therefore bad. Actually, Dominic, to that point, I actually didn't see many people. Maybe I'm in the wrong conversations, or maybe I'm in the right conversations. But I didn't see a lot of that when it came to Ahsoka. Nobody was really saying, oh, Ahsoka's a female. I didn't see a lot of that because Ahsoka was good. It's the perfect example of all of this. Ahsoka is good. And for that reason, it doesn't matter who the characters are. The show's good. The story's good. Each character goes on their own development arcs. Everything about it is good. And it sets up the future so well. Yeah, you don't really see that conversation around Ahsoka as much. At least I don't see that conversation around Ahsoka as much. Freak C says, Rey is a babe. There, I said it. That's all I'll say. There you go. Freak Seek said it. Jem says, I still haven't watched Ahsoka. Is it bad to say that? Oh my God, Jem, go watch Ahsoka. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Yeah. Og says, Lucasfilm would be so dumb to jump from the Mandalorian and Grogu movie to the Rey movie. I feel like there's no chance that it ends up that way. I think they will get a New Republic trilogy before the Rey return. See, Og, that would be the right move. It would be the right move to do, but that's not what they're going to do. it should work out that way. We should get a New Republic or Mandoverse trilogy first, and then the Rey movie. But that's not going to happen. We almost think about it. Before last week, we were going to be getting the Rey movie first. Thank God for this Mando movie. Thank God for this Mando movie. Because without it, we would be watching the Rey movie first. It's crazy. It's crazy when you think about that. OgMC says, not gonna lie, the bigger the gap between Rey's return, the better. This might indirectly benefit the Rey movie whenever it comes out. I completely agree. The more time that we have to wait to see Rey, the more time that fans are going to maybe either forget about the sequels or maybe want to see more post-sequels. You have to have a good story moving past the sequel trilogy. You just have to. And if the Rey movie is going to start that off and do it well, then we're in a good spot. Yeah. I told you, as long as Kathleen Kennedy is at the helm of Lucasfilm, there will be F troop of movie companies. What? I don't know what that means. Jay says, I think they should put the Dawn of the Jedi movie before the Rey movie and postpone the Rey movie to 2027 and have the Jedi movie in 2026. I agree. I think the Rey movie should be the last of these to come out, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think that's the way it's going to go. C4X Frosty, what's up, says, what is your favorite Star Wars series in your opinion? Ooh, all series, like animation and live action? That is tough. My top 3, I would have to say, are Clone Wars, Rebels, and Mando. But single seasons is different. Single seasons, my top 3 would be Rebels. Rebels season 4, Ahsoka, and Mando season 2. Not in that order, but those are my top 3 of each. Yeah. Great question, though. Fearless says, Episode 9 wasn't a movie. It was an atrocity. They tried to retcon stuff. It was so fast, and there was cut after cut, and I couldn't think. The only good scene in that movie was when Kylo and Han and the one with Hux and Chewie. I still remember those. Yeah, the Kylo and Han scene is very good. I think Rise of Skywalker tries to do too much too fast. It's like trying to be its own trilogy in one movie, and that's the problem. Yeah. If the Rise of Skywalker story was actually split into 3 movies, then it probably would have been a good trilogy. But it was just too fast-paced for one movie. It brought back Palpatine and ended Palpatine all in the same movie. Like, that's how crazy that is. Yeah. Jem says, I got confused with the other movies. Solo, Ahsoka, too many Star Wars movies, sorry. I really miss Luke. They shouldn't have killed him off, and now he's going to show up as a Force Ghost. He probably will show up as a Force Ghost in the Rey movie, probably just for like a minute or two, but yeah, they shouldn't have killed him off in the first place. You'll get more Luke in the Mandoverse. Cappy says, most likely they will steal his script. Oh, no. Not reading that, Cappy, sorry. Catherine says, I agree that the Dawn of the Jedi should be released before the Rey movie, but do you think that the Rey movie as a centerpiece, but do you want the Rey movie as a centerpiece for the 50th celebration of Star Wars? Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. The 50th year of Star Wars is 2027. And you definitely don't want the Rey movie coming out on that year. I think Dawn of the Jedi would actually be the perfect spot. A perfect movie, I should say, to release on the 50th anniversary. It's going back to the beginning of the Dawn of the Jedi. What better way to celebrate 50 than going back to the beginning? That would be kind of cool. Yeah, for sure. Tiffany says, yeah, that's ridiculous. The issue isn't Rey. It's how they portray the character as well as the others. And the story itself doesn't live up to the expectations. 100%. C4X Frosty says, Dave Filoni should be in charge of Lucasfilm at this point, in my opinion. Yeah, he should. Well, the good news is he does have this chief creative officer role. So I think he will have some sort of pull on the Rey movie. I think he will have creative control in some facet of the definition of the word. He will have some control over this movie. So maybe, just maybe, he will be involved in the writing process and the directing process and all that stuff. I think he will be on set, and hopefully he does a George Lucas where he just takes over the entire movie and sort of makes it his own. But yes, Dave Filoni's new position as Chief Creative Officer, or CCO, will allow him to be involved in this Ray movie, which gives me hope. It does give me hope. Yeah. Catherine says 2027 is the 50th celebration. Needs to be a great movie with all the excitement of 2027. I agree. But honestly, the 50th anniversary will be in May of 2027 because that's when Star Wars was released. So December of 2027 will be the movie release. So that will probably be Dawn of the Jedi. But for the 50th anniversary in May, we'll probably get all these, like A New Hope will be re-released into theaters, and maybe even the rest of the trilogies as well. Og says, man, Rey being a nobody was so peak. It was pretty good. I'll give it that. I think it was a better reveal. I mean, if she was a Palpatine from the beginning, it would have been a cool reveal. Like, you didn't know she was a Palpatine the whole time, but there was stuff in the background that was sort of teasing towards it, but you didn't really notice it. And then, of course, like her using the Force Lightning would have been cool if she even used it earlier, but you like didn't know it was Force Lightning or something like that. And then you found out that she was a Palpatine. But when you find out that she's a nobody, then she's a somebody, then she's a Palpatine, then she's a Skywalker, like, it's too much. It's too much. Yeah. Fearless says, I say it again. If they had a plan for the sequels, it could have been great. Star Wars, like it used to be. But for some reason, unknown, they messed it up. Yeah, I still don't get it. Why not have a plan for what could be billions upon like they could have made, like they made billions of dollars each movie. They could have made so much more money if the movies were actually good. Think about that. They could have made insane amounts of money if the movies were good. That's what's wild. Cappy says, this was the corporation that put out the original Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy. Talk about a lapse in quality control. Honestly, I gotta go back and watch all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I haven't seen those in so long. Yeah. Anthony says, well, in the fall of 2023, Filoni was given the title of Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm Ltd. The thing is, a lot of content was made before Filoni got that power. We'll have to wait. That's true. But the Rey movie hasn't been made yet, so he could be involved in the creation of that. Maybe Kathleen Kennedy hired Charmin Obed-Chinoy to say those things so that so that there would be backlash and quietly cancel the movie. But then why would she announce the movie in the first place? That wouldn't make sense. That wouldn't make sense. Dominic says, yeah, man, Rey in episode 7 was good. And then in episode 8, she became an entirely different character. Yeah. Sad. Sad. Jem says, the only thing that was awkward was that how it is possible for an ex-stormtrooper confronting a Sith. The storytelling is bad. I definitely agree. I kind of liked the turned stormtrooper. If Finn turned into a Jedi by the third movie, it would have been good. But he didn't. He actually never turns into a Jedi. But he attempts to be a Jedi at the end of the first movie, and it doesn't work, which should have happened. He got bested, and that's what should have happened. Finn's story. Of all the stories, Finn's story is the worst. He starts off with so much potential in The Force Awakens. So much potential. As a ex-stormtrooper turned good, possibly Force sensitive, like that would be incredible. Ugh, how badly they messed that up. The unknown grandchild of a previous villain as a hero is not a bad story, but it's being noticeably tacked on. But it being noticeably tacked on was the problem. Yeah, it was obviously a last-minute, last-ditch effort to sort of fix this trilogy, is make Rey a Palpatine, and it didn't work. Jem says, but I still watch Star Wars forever. Oh yeah, me too, for sure. Because the content that we're getting now is good. Like they've learned from their mistakes in some facets of creating content. in the mistakes of the sequel trilogy. They've learned from some of it. The Mandalorian's incredible, Ahsoka's incredible, and we're getting more, hopefully, incredible content next year and the year after, or this year and the year after. OgMC says, I wish Dawn of the Jedi movie had a little more talent attached to it. I liked Indiana Jones, I guess. Well, James Mangold is an incredible director. Now, we don't know much of anything else about this movie, so we don't know what other talent is connected to it, but we'll see. Yeah. Fearless says, yeah, Finn's story was really a missed opportunity. Don't worry about it, Jay. Yeah, Finn's story was a huge missed opportunity. Okay. Let's read this article coming from Star Wars Newsnet. Okay, this is again about the Rey movie. There's Rey herself. The new Jedi Order movie film still proceeds as planned, with Stephen Knight writing the script. Another day, another crazy Star Wars film rumor has made its way into the internet. This has been the last couple of weeks. We've been talking about the Rey movie, to the Mando movie, to now back to the Rey movie, and it's been another day, another crazy Star Wars rumor. Like, it's great. It's fantastic. It gives me a ton of content to talk about, and I love it, but it's wild. It's wild. Reports have been running around all day saying that the upcoming new Jedi Order Star Wars film is going through some trouble, with Stephen Knight's latest draft of the script having met some serious pushback from Lucasfilm and the writer considering leaving the project to focus on his forthcoming Peaky Blinders film. After reaching out to verify the report, sources in the know are telling us that the report is highly inaccurate. Stephen Knight is very much attached as the writer, and the production is definitely not delayed indefinitely. We hear the story also came out a few days after Daisy Ridley went on the press junket to speak highly of the pitch for the film, but also a couple of weeks after comments from the director from years ago resurfaced on social media, causing a lot of controversy. People misquote this a lot. The controversy around Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy did not start with the "I like to make men uncomfortable" quote. That was after the fact. It started with what she said on the New Year about a woman taking over the Star Wars galaxy and shaping the Star Wars galaxy. Finally, a woman can come shape the Star Wars galaxy. That's what started the whole thing. It wasn't what she said 8 years ago. A week ago, Lucasfilm announced The Mandalorian and Grogu, which the report above took as a cover-up for the alleged shakeup. Of course, that is not the case. It's been confirmed that Jon Favreau directed film is going to come first, which could inevitably push production on the new Jedi Order film, but that doesn't necessarily signal an indefinite delay. We reported in October that Knight was expected to turn in his draft at some point before the holidays, but we're guessing that it was also at that time that Lucasfilm decided to shift their film priorities to Favreau's film, thus possibly giving Stephen Knight more time to polish off his draft. As we were finishing this report, IO9 also reported that the film is doing business as usual at Lucasfilm and that they are expecting a new draft soon. No release date is set for the film. Once the draft is turned in, and should it get approved, the film could get into pre-production within the next few months, which is when we will start to get some new news about this. Star Wars has 2 theatrical releases reserved in 2026 on May 22nd of 2026 and December 18th of 2026. So this is another article, not the IO9. I have no idea who that is, but Star Wars Newsnet is a more reliable source when it comes to Star Wars news, and they are saying something very similar. They've reached out to their sources at Lucasfilm, and they have said almost the exact same thing, that Stephen Knight is still working on this project and they are awaiting his latest draft. Now, they also mentioned that yes, maybe priorities have changed. This Mando movie is coming out first, so this Rey movie is technically getting delayed to the second release date of the schedule, but it's not going to be the same story that is being told right now. Stephen Knight is not exiting the project as of right now. Maybe he's just getting more time because of his Peaky Blinders project, or because he needs more time to finish the script. So again, it might be being overblown by Star Wars fans. However, there is still a delay happening. Stephen Knight still is a busy guy with the Peaky Blinders, and it's still likely that this movie is not on a good track because of it being an extension of the sequel trilogy, it involving the character of Ray and others. And of course, the director, Sharmina Beccino, is saying some crazy, crazy stuff. So yes, this movie is quite divisive already, and we're still years away from its release. And this is definitely not the last time we'll be talking about this Ray movie on stream, I'm sure. But that's all the news we got. That's all the news that we got for this Ray movie. Very conflicting rumors, speculation, all this stuff. Yeah. Actually, there's one more I want to read. It was Bespin's article, because Bespin wrote the initial article, and then they actually wrote a opposing report of themselves. So Bespin wrote the first article saying that they thought that it was going to be delayed. That's what they thought. That was their initial report. And now, actually hours later, they released this. Opposing reports claim the untitled Ray Skywalker movie has not been delayed. Stephen Knight is still on board. So they are the ones that sort of claimed that it was delayed in the first place, and they are the ones who are also writing this article. So let's see what they had to say. Yesterday, a report from World of Real, that's not true, this was the same day. Yesterday, a report from World of Real claimed that the untitled Daisy Ridley-led Star Wars movie, set to be directed by Sharmina Beccino, has suffered a delay due to the creative issues between Lucasfilm and their film's writer, Stephen Knight of Peaky Blinders. Now, a day later, another reputable outlet is denying the real report. Today, Jermaine Lucier of the Gizmondo is responding to the World of Real report that set social media abuzz for the past 24 hours, which I covered earlier today. In the Gizmondo article, Lucier shared that after speaking with a source close to Lucasfilm, that the World of Real report was inaccurate, denying that the film has suffered a delay and that Stephen Knight is still a part of the writing process, with Lucasfilm awaiting his latest draft. The World of Real reported from yesterday's claim that the untitled Star Wars Ray Skywalker movie, had been delayed indefinitely, meaning the film did not have a set release date, and that the next Star Wars movie to be released in theaters would be the recently announced The Mandalorian and Grogu. In addition, the World of Real added that the reason for the delay was creative issues between Stephen Knight and Lucasfilm, with the studio giving him so many notes on his draft that he turned in most recently that he would have to start his draft from scratch. Lastly, the outlet added that Stephen Knight had grown frustrated and that there was a possibility that he might not even stay on the project, as he now focuses his efforts on his Peaky Blinders movie that is set to begin filming this summer. Now, I'm not taking sides here. Both reports could be correct in my opinion. The Real article never said Knight was off the project, just that it was a possibility, and that he would be due to pen a new draft. The Gizmondo article stated that Knight is still part of the writing process and that Lucasfilm is awaiting a new draft from the writer. Both don't read drastically different to me. Knight is currently still on board and is still supposed to submit a new draft of the script. The only major difference in the report is that the World of Real said that the film is delayed indefinitely. And by the way, some on social media has reacted. Some on social media have reacted. I'm unsure if they know what indefinitely delayed means. It doesn't mean that the film is scrapped, and it doesn't mean that it's canceled. It just means that it's delayed and for an unspecific period of time. It simply means an unmeasured amount of time. Yeah, indefinitely. Duh. The Gizmondo report denies that the film has been delayed indefinitely. However, the untitled Ray Skywalker film does not have a public announced release date, just that it was reported by various insiders and the trades that it was believed to be the next Star Wars film to be released into theaters. Daisy Ridley herself even said this in November, that she believes that the film would be the next theatrical release for Star Wars. Since January, there has been an untitled Star Wars movie due to release in the theaters on May 22nd of 2026. Lucasfilm has never specified which of their announced films would take that slot. The Gizmondo added that their report from their recent announcement that the Mandalorian and Grogu movie has been thrown a wrench in the fandom, assumptions that the untitled Rey movie would be the next Star Wars movie to release. The Gizmondo added that the news has merely shifted things around, in that Lucasfilm wanted to take their time with the Rey movie to make sure they get it right, which is most certainly something that we all want. And then they go on to say this. So that's good news. I mean, it makes the most sense to delay the Rey movie to try to get it right. It just makes sense. However, these conflicting reports, like Bespin was saying, aren't that far off from each other. Both are claiming that this movie's not even done when the script should have been done before Thanksgiving. And both are claiming that this movie still doesn't have a release date and it's still being delayed. So it is delayed indefinitely, by definition of the words. It is delayed indefinitely. A lot of fans clearly don't know what indefinitely means. But I'm going to make a full-on video on this. Both sides, whether it's Stephen Knight is on board, whether he's not, what's going on. I'm going to speak the facts in this video, and I'm going to leave it up to you guys to comment on that video what you think is going on. Is this movie going to be delayed for a long, long time? Is it going to be the next movie after Mando to be released, or is it going to have to be a while? We'll talk about it all a lot probably the rest of this week, and we'll talk about all this other stuff, and of course that video tomorrow. But I want to shift gears before we get on out of here about the Andor news that I promised you guys at the beginning of the stream, because there's a little bit of Andor news that's actually really good. So for you Andor fans in the chat, which I know there's many of you, Season 2 got a pretty good announcement today, or a few days ago, whatever it was. I think it was today, actually. Cassian Andor revealed that there was only 7 days left in filming for his Star Wars Andor Season 2. So let's read this article first, then I'll get to all your chats, and then we will get on out of here. 2 hours already. That's insane. Okay. Diego Luna reveals he only has 7 days left of filming on his Star Wars Andor Season 2, and he was returning to London that day. Star of Andor, Diego Luna, has shared that the production resuming on his second and final season of Andor is imminent. Yesterday, when on the Emmys red carpet, Diego Luna spoke with Variety briefly and revealed that he was due to fly back to London today, January 16th, to resume work on the second season of Andor, which had production shut down in July due to the actor strikes. Luna added that he had just 7 days left of filming and seemed excited about the prospect of finally ending Cassian Andor's story. You can read the quote from below. So this is what Diego Luna said. The good thing about Andor is that we know it has an ending. Of course, Rogue One. And it's nice to work knowing there's an ending. You can aim for something, you know? We are getting there. I have a few days to shoot because of the strikes. I have 7 days. I'm going back tomorrow and I fly to London where we finish this. Yeah. Okay. So he finishes in 7 days from now. So in 7 days from now, Andor Season 2 will be done filming and can go into post-production, and we'll probably see it in early 2025, which is exciting. Diego Luna also spoke with a Hollywood Reporter on the Emmys red carpet, telling the outlet the same as he did Variety, that the production is a few days from being completed. He added that he's hoping that the second season and final season could be as good, if not better, than the first, and due to how close the season runs up to Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, many things fans are expecting to happen will occur. So a lot of fans are like, is Season 2 going to have a lot more than Season 1? Are we going to see people like Krennic or characters from Rogue One involved in this story? It's the finale, the second and last season, and we are a few days away from being done. Because of the strikes, we had to stop. I'm going back to shoot now, and we are working hard. Same team, same people, same rigor, and we are trying to deliver something as good as, or even better, hopefully. It's getting so close to Rogue One. So many things you're expecting to happen will happen. This is pretty cool. He's saying that things that you expect to see in the second season, you will probably see, which is pretty damn cool. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that because the rest of the article just goes on. But that's exciting. Andor Season 2, I do have a lot of hope for. I think it will be better than Season 1, honestly. And I think Season 2 could involve characters like Krennic, like Jyn Erso, or maybe not Jyn Erso, but Galen Erso with the Empire. Maybe even Vader. Maybe we get some Vader in there. Something like that. Maybe some Tarkin, Palpatine, who knows? Who knows? As Mon Mothma's still on Coruscant, you could see Palpatine at any moment almost. Yeah, so I'm excited. Hopefully less cereal, eating cereal. And yeah, that's exciting for sure. Let's see what you guys say in the chat. Let's see. Catherine says, I agree. Finn's story had some great potential. I think Kylo's story also could be interesting. Kylo got a great arc in the sequels, I must say. He did. It was probably the best arc of all of them. OgMC says, what do you think it will take to get Star Wars back to sequel trilogy / Avatar / Spider-Verse level of hype? Could Mando and Grogu do it? Or would they need to clean slate and start a trilogy in a faraway era? Ooh, that's tough. How will we get back to the hype of the sequels? So the hype before The Force Awakens was something like I've never seen before. Now, I'm a young guy, but I've never seen it. And I haven't seen it since. That's a lie. I have seen it since. And it was Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. That year between Infinity War and Endgame was something special. So 2019 was around that same, like, for Marvel. But Star Wars, to get back to that spot, is going to be very difficult. Because the sequel trilogy completely divided the fandom. So we're going to have, like, movie after movie after movie that's all like a win. They're all going to have to be Rogue One level. Good. So if The Mandalorian's first one is that, if it's that good, if it makes billions of dollars, I think the hype for the next one could be around that level. And if the second one is as good as I think it will be, and there's a third one for the trilogy, I think the hype level for that third one could be around, if not even more, than the hype level for the sequel trilogy. Yeah. But I'd love to get back to that spot. Imagine. That'd be so cool. Yeah. Yeah. Og follows up and says, the amount of hate I've seen towards Bespin on Twitter today seems unfair to me, considering they corrected themselves as soon as the new report dropped. Yeah, and they're not like... Bespin is good because they get a lot of stuff right, but also their first report was they were reporting about a different report. So they're just reporting about the news that they see. Just because it's not correct news, or maybe it is correct news. Like, they're not wrong in either instance. Like, Bespin hasn't been proven wrong yet in this whole controversy of the delayed indefinitely thing. So, yeah, it sucks to see all the hate towards Bespin because they do a good job. Catherine says, last night on Star Wars Theory, he reported that Disney has an entire room devoted to monitors of Star Wars chats. Do you think that's true? I haven't seen his live stream yesterday, and but I don't know if he was saying that as a joke or not, but I seriously doubt that that's the case. Because there's no way that they could have people viewing all the chats about Star Wars. There's too many of them. There's just too many. Like, even I can't get into a lot of them because there's just too many going on, you know? Aurora says, Andor is nice. Andor was nice. Yeah, for sure. Andor Season 2. It's exciting. All right, let's end this poll. Let's see where this ended at. 69%. Nice. Let's see. 69% of you guys do think that the Rey movie is delayed indefinitely, and 30%, by the way, the math is not mathing, 30% of you guys don't think that it's delayed indefinitely. So I'm going to post that video for tomorrow, probably around 1 p.m.-ish, give or take. Hopefully 12 p.m. if I can get it out in time. We'll post that video for tomorrow, and we'll see. We'll see what you guys think. We're going to go over both reports, and we're going to break it down. What's facts, what's not facts, what's just rumors. And we're going to see, is this movie delayed indefinitely or not? I think it is, but we shall see. I am going to get on out of here. We went over a ton of stuff today. Probably not all the stuff that I wanted to, but that's okay. Actually, let's, one more thing before we get on out of here. One last thing. Dave Filoni news. Dave Filoni is being honored with an award. Yeah, here we go. Dave Filoni to receive the George Pal Memorial Award at Saturn Awards. So, Lucasfilm Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni will receive the George Pal Memorial Award at the Saturn Awards, which will return for its 51st year on February 4th. So, named after the film and animator George Pal, the award is one of the Saturn's top honors. According to the organization, the prize is presented on a rare occasion to a filmmaker who embodies a sense of wonder, imagination, and mastery of the fantastic in cinematic storytelling. It says in cinematic storytelling. I think it meant and cinematic story. Dave's work has had a profound impact on the Star Wars franchise, breathing new life into beloved characters and expanding the universe in exciting and unexpected ways. He is a true visionary in the world of animation and storytelling, and we are truly honored to bestow this very special award to him. So that's awesome. Dave Filoni finally getting some recognition up in the world of Hollywood. That's very, very cool. So, yeah, that's exciting. Dave Filoni finally gets some recognition, getting the love he deserves, because he's created some of the best Star Wars content there is. And not even Star Wars content. He did the Avatar The Last Airbender, which a lot of people, if you grew up on Avatar The Last Airbender, you might even say it's the best animated show ever. But no, he definitely finally deserves greatness. He did the Clone Wars, he did Rebels, he did Tales, he did Bad Batch, he did Mando, he did Ahsoka, and now he's getting movies. The guy's the GOAT. Let's be honest. Especially if he gets these movies right, he'll really be the GOAT. OgMC says, how often do you stream? Just whenever news drops? No, that's a good question, actually, because I never usually say it on streams. I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I kind of like one day in between. So Tuesday, not Wednesday. Thursday, not Friday. Saturday. So like every other day almost through the week. Yeah. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And then every other day, I'll try to post a full-on video, if not like a short. I post a short almost every day. We're trying to keep it going. Keep it going. We're at 6,750 subscribers. I cannot thank all of you guys enough. We're almost at 7,000. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Let's try to get to 10K. 10K. You know we're doing a giveaway at 10K. So giveaway at 10K. There is also a giveaway coming up, I think, next week, I believe, before the end of the week. So if you want to become a member, it's only 99 cents to get instant access to that giveaway. You can do that. Fearless says, Tiffany says, definitely exciting to hear about Andor Season 2. May the Force be with you always. It is definitely, yeah, and definitely well-deserved for Dave Filoni. Filoni worked on Avatar The Last Airbender. I never knew that. Yeah, so I think he was working on Season 1. I think he directs the first couple episodes of Avatar. But yeah, he was working on Avatar, and that's when George Lucas called him to call him up to do Star Wars, do the Clone Wars. Yeah, so I think he only works on the first and second season, I think. Yeah. All right, I'm going to get on out of here. You guys are the absolute best. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and that like button if you haven't already. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. We go live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so don't miss out on any of those. And, of course, a video tomorrow about all this crazy news as well. Yeah. I guess that's it. May the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. What a crazy day for Star Wars news. Hopefully we can get this all cleared up by tomorrow. And we'll try and figure it out. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, a great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody. Oh, my God, John. John. You were so close, John. So close. Good night, everybody. I appreciate you showing up anyway, John. Good night, everybody.